I've had a rather interesting day today. It's all to do with cats and flaps. My cat, because he has not yet had a cat flap, has had to be let out every time he wants to go out in the garden and let in every time he wanted to come back in. Now that gets tiring. So I began leaving the conservatory door open, which meant that the living room where I was sitting watching telly began to get bloody cold. So we needed a solution. So I bought a cat flap, and my brother-in-law installed the cat flap. Said cat was not impressed. The first few times we pressed his head against the cat flap. Well, the first time I tried it to introduce him to the cat flap, I put his paws, tucked his paws in and pushed his head through the cat flap, at which point the paws came flying out from my grasp and grabbed onto the door of the cat flap, the door either side. And then when I managed to get those paws back into the hole of the cat flap where his head now was, his back legs suddenly attacked the door. It was like watching something out of Tom and Jerry. He was not happy, and I felt very, very cruel. So me and my sister together have spent several hours today trying to entice our little kitty in and out through the cat flap with all the coping mechanisms we could think of, games and food and treats. And in the end, the cat has not cooperated. And so we have had to, as you can tell, tape the cat flap open. And this way, he's quite happy to use the cat flap. He'll come and go through it as long as he doesn't have to nudge it with his nose. Now, I have no idea. I am not a cat whisperer. I have no idea how I'm going to eventually get him to realise he can push his way in easily and push his way out easily. That's yet to come. Now, I was thinking how that's a lot like us. Or maybe me. Maybe I'm the only one. Mental health issue, okay? Solution needed. Suddenly, coping mechanism provided. It can be anything from group therapy to guided meditation to mindfulness to yoga classes or whatever. I did not comply. I did not want to push my nose against the glass and see if this mechanism worked. It all seemed rather odd. And so I would occasionally have a go at meditation and guided meditation. But really, really. And so here I was. Problem, mental health issue, needing to be calmer, and coping mechanism provided. And yet, just like Harley, my cat, I was the one not cooperating. And it made me realise, because I have, over the last few weeks, begun doing meditation, guided meditation again. Because I tend to be someone who starts something and then bloody hell, after a few days, I think, gosh, I'd rather sit and eat a biscuit. Anyway, I have forced myself to follow through on meditation, and I'm finding it gradually beneficial. I'm also somebody who doesn't want to learn how to do something. I want to have the benefit of the skill without ever having tried to attempt to learn it. In other words, I would love to be able to play the cello, but you would never find me buying a cello and sitting and taking lessons, because that's all too much faff. And a lot of us are like this. We're the one that the coping mechanisms are designed for. We're the ones that are being helped to use the coping mechanisms. And yet there is something inside of us that just says, nope, not going to do it. And we fight against the very thing that has been provided for us and that we need. And so I gave myself a good talking to about meditation, and I am going to take up yoga. I'll probably break all of my bones and bend all of my tendons out of shape. It's been so long since I've done any exercise. But it's a bit like teaching the cat to use the cat flap. If I want the solution to work, then I have to be prepared to go through the discomfort at first of trying something new, of being brave enough even to try something new, to get rid of my skepticism and try something new. So if you're like me and have problems with taking up coping mechanisms and putting them into practice, let's see if this week, or when we're ready, because as you can see, I've taped up the cat flap so that because he'll come through as long as he hasn't got to push it with his nose. In time, he'll be ready to trust that he can push it with his nose. So the solutions that we have been offered, the coping mechanisms that we've been offered, let's bolden ourselves. Let's turn off procrastination. Let's turn off skepticism, and let's give the damn thing a go and see how we benefit.